Where Winds Meet. I never met any wins, so that's an interesting title, but I did meet lots of fun. Listen, Jane, I haven't slept because I've been enjoying this game, just give me a break, okay? Where Winds Meet is a beautiful open-world RPG that you can explore and get lost into your heart's content. It has them AAA level visuals, a deep and fun combat system that is centered around Chinese martial arts, and it's free to play on PC, PS5, and mobile. But enough of the sales pitch, I'm here to tell you my personal experience with this game and why I think it's worth checking out. A couple of things I want to quickly note before starting. For full disclosure, I was given an early access package with an already leveled up character with some cool gear. That means that this is technically from a different perspective than someone who just started the game completely fresh. Although, saying that, this is my first time playing. Similarly, the challenge in the title was not established until I'd already played for several hours, so you might see me heal a couple of times. Right, so after a cutscene of us having a lovely little boat ride down a river on a moonlit night that quickly turned a little more spicy and a lot more, oh god, I'm going to die, we are washed up in a desert. Good thing I have my trusty attack umbrella. I joke, but I actually love this thing. Also, we can rewind time? Alright. Before long, I happen upon my first enemy, the Utuk Raptor. This is a flying enemy, obviously, and great start to impressing me game. No, really, just put the flying enemy up front. I joke, this thing actually isn't that hard to deal with. It's only got a handful of attacks, and it sticks fairly close to the ground, making it easy to hit with pretty much anything. Eventually, I find a shadowy man, and I start following him, only for him to go the way of my hopes and dreams and just blip out of existence. What would I ever do without you, Jane? This ultimately leads me to a very large shipwreck, and I have some questions. Yes, why is there a boat in the middle of the desert? Why does it have a tree growing out of it? And why does that tree have better hair than like 97% of the Earth's population? After time warping another ball, I'm thrown into combat with a few lesser raptors that eventually turns into a boss fight. However, this is just one of the regular ones with some beefed up health. I do, however, make the discovery that I have a second weapon, this dagger on a whip, or if I was a cultured individual, kunai with chain. Oh, I also have a bow, but I didn't really use it. I'm not sure how viable a bow build would be, but hey, future challenges, who knows? With bird brain turned to fried chicken, I bang on some drums and the boat, breast strokes away? Listen, I'm not a pathologist, but I don't think that's how boats work. Maybe the boat got tired of floating, like how bees get tired of flying so they walk and like jazz. Who knows? All I know is I investigated a giant glowing orb nearby and got skewered by a giant sandfish. What is even happening? It was at this point my adventure went a little off script. So I began my trek across the desert, and it's full of life, more so than I thought. There are NPCs just hanging around, lots of magical animals, conga lines of camels, things to collect and discover. I mean, the devs and world designers did a good job of making a desert feel full of life and things to do. Pretty impressive, honestly. Eventually, I find my way to a little oasis, and like, if you're gonna build a house in the desert, good idea to do it in the one place where there's an abundance of water. Oh, I see. Alright, if you say so, game. Great, we got mimic flowers now. After waking up, my throat is parched, so I drink some water. Turns out, I drank the last bit of water this woman had. She's pretty chill about it though. Guess she still hasn't realized that the oasis is actually an oasint. Quite the talker, isn't she? Well, turns out she thought I wasn't real, which is why she didn't really respond to me, and I guess fair, but after a while she realizes we are in fact a living person. She still doesn't tell me much except to go to sleep and leave in the morning. After we do that, we find her hurt next to a caved-in well. So this quest is all about getting a lamp back and the search for water. It turns out people had been digging for years from what I gather across multiple generations trying to find said water. You end up exploring the well and learned about the backstory of those that were here before and how they died looking for it. There's actually a good lesson in it all too. Near the end, someone asked why they dig and the response was, well, don't you want folks to have water? And you know what? Yeah, I would work hard so my community can prosper. Sometimes you gotta do for others, you know? Anyway, the side quest ends when we find the lantern and a bunch of water, then return to the lady outside. It was at this point I realized, hey, I'm not actually doing a main quest, so I checked my journal and found the campaign section. Then I realized I had a camel. Neat! In the middle of this city, I found a man. When I touched his flag, he didn't like that too much. This boss is rather important, but I will come back to him later as I think I did something out of order. After I beat him, first try I might add, I claimed a reward and left the instance, only to see him there again and he was angry as soon as I got close. I once again kicked his butt first try, and this time I had additional objectives in that I had to collect some flags. Okay, progress, let's go. Outside the city was another boss that totally wasn't there the first time I came this way, and the only reason it beat me was because it gave me the case of the born in the 1990s. Journeying across the lands, I came across a portal that ultimately let me turn into the fish from before. Or write it, I'm not honestly super sure, but it's cool AF either way. After collecting all the flags and planting them, there is a short little flashback in a cutscene, but I don't want to reveal that. In fact, this is probably the point where I'm going to stop before I ruin any of the coolness for anyone wanting to play the game themselves. Which means it's time to talk about that issued challenge. After just enjoying playing the game, I was asked if I wanted to up the ante. Could I beat a couple of the bosses without dodging and without healing? Sure guys, I'm game, let's do it. I had actually already fought one of the bosses just casually playing though, which probably slightly skewed the difficulty of this challenge, as if it was my first time I feel like it would have been rough. That boss is the Grand Protector of Angie. Thankfully, I can easily just refight him by touching the flag in his arena. So, how was this fight without dodging or healing? Well, honestly, not too bad because I'm still able to deflect. Honestly, I'm not sure if that was the intent of the challenge run or not, but I'm not going to look to give Camel in the mouth here. As far as I can tell, probably everything can be deflected. I mean, all of the melee attacks in Phase 1 can, but I would like to note that there are two, special attack types. One where he will glow red, and one where he will glow golden. The red one is deflectable. In fact, some enemies have a special animation tied to deflecting this, which I really like. It makes the fight feel a little more dynamic than just standing there listening to their weapons ping off my umbrella. The gold one, on the other hand, I don't think is deflectable. I only saw it like 7 times over the 3 total fights I did with this boss, so I didn't get a lot of chances to try, but I think you're just intended to iframe it, which now I obviously can't do. Anyway, back to the fight. The boss doesn't do a whole lot. He will occasionally summon an ad that does 3 attacks before disappearing, and they don't really move, so if you deflect the first one, then just get away from it, it's a non-issue. Phase 1 of this boss is pretty easy overall. Combos aren't too long, boss is pretty passive, letting you get free damage in, but Phase 2 is where it gets real. He is suddenly a lot more spry, jumping around all over the place using lightning and arrows and long combos with infinite stamina. Honestly, it's fun. He's really fun to deflect. For some reason, though I am thankful for this, the devs decided not to put some kind of lightning buildup on his attacks. I'm not 100% sure if that's a status ailment in the game at all, but believe me, I am so glad I don't have to worry about getting 1000 gigavolts and his boot down my throat. Anyway, Iron-Blooded Prince. He's a bit rough. He takes very little damage from my attacks, but big key damage from my deflects. Which, again, because he does 8 attacks per combo, means I can actually, critical him multiple times throughout the fight. All in all, this was not a difficult boss to bring down without dodging. Had this not been my 3rd time overall fighting him, I might have had to heal, but I mean, pattern recognition go burr, am I right? The second boss I was requested to do dodgeless was a bit different. First, I had to find it, and it's in the northern part of the map, just after a sandstorm. This is neat. I had to follow a magically disappearing and reappearing camel. There weren't any enemies on this little path, just a couple of random lore tidbits, but I think it could have been fun to have surprise attacks come out of the sandstorm. It would have to be done in a specific way, otherwise it would just be annoying though. Anyway, after the dust settles, I can see the boat from earlier in the distance. Oh, that's the boss. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised when I was told it was called the Wandering Ark. So this boss is actually a gimmick. Not a full-on gimmick boss, but there is definitely not a traditional fight. Problem number 1 is actually getting close to the boss. The game straight up tells you you can't deflect the incoming attack and to just sprint, which is fine, except I was already out of sprint juice before the attack finished. After I get close, I am told the boss has weak points on its leg. Break those to actually hurt it. Okay, no problem. Mostly. I mean, one of the legs has branches a bit higher up than the others, but my umbrella lets me fire some magical homing projectiles, so that's fine. Additionally, after it commits to the big jump, it comes crashing down, exposing the moon core, which makes the boss take direct damage if hit enough. Phase 2 gets a bit more cinematic. The boss moves around a lot and is basically impossible to hit until it decides it's your turn. One thing it would do is set up thorns around me, limiting my movement space, and the game screams at me to dodge the surprise attack, but I can't. I cannot do that, game. Well, I mean, I can't. You can. I can't. So, love me that damage. Feels good. Eventually, the boss will fly high into the air and begin charging a moon blast, where it literally just shoots the moon at you. This is actually fairly easy to dodge, as you can literally just sprint away from it. After it explodes, use Tai Chi to return to center, causing the arc to come crashing down and once again exposing its weak point. Repeat that a couple times and the Wandering Ark is finished. Honestly, the no heal restriction might suck when you're trying to learn fights, but deflect is just so good in this game, both as a mechanic and just the feel of deflecting the attacks. I could see someone beating this game without dodging pretty, well, probably easily. Oh, rapidly tapping shield moves you back? Glad they didn't ask me to beat the game without walking.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed this game. I hope that came across in the video pretty well. I was having a good time, and I'd like to play it some more. I don't know if I'll play it for the channel. I might not. But it was a lot of fun. The challenge respectfully, was not that hard. It was a lot easier. To be fair, like I mentioned, I'm not entirely sure it was intended that I could deflect. They never said no deflect. It was specifically no heal and no dodge. But that was not that hard. But yeah, it was fun. I would like to see what else this game has to offer. It was nice to play something new. Maybe if I want to, I could just play the whole game, no heal, no dodge. That would probably actually be a challenge, because like I mentioned, had I not like done that one boss with 2 times at that point already, I probably would have needed those heals, because anytime you fight something new, it's tough, right? But it was fun. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm so glad I got a chance to do it. And look at that, Jane W., you are this week's Grand Champion.